cannot build until you build a financial foundation. How do you build? How do you do that? You start from the basis. Nobody can want to rent a house or buy a house that they told you that the construction started from the roof. Just think about it logically. There's no way. If somebody wants to gift you a house that the building started from the roof, there's no way you like to stay in that building. True or false? The reason being that you must have a proper foundation. And that's where the proper protection comes in. We may lay emphasis on that because a lot of people, even those that are making effort to save, to try and do something about their finances, they fall into this kind of trap because of there's no proper protection. Then the next block on top of that foundation is debt management. So we don't only talk about insurance, we also talk about managing your debt because debt is one of the major hindrances that puts people into financial difficulty. We also teach how to manage your debt. The next one is emergency fund. What is emergency fund? If you have between 3 to 6 months of your monthly income for any emergencies, and how do you do that? Is by accumulating fund. Then you have the emergency fund ready. Then the next, which is the top, which is the roof, is investment. Then we'll tell you how your money can work for you, where to place your fund, how you can avoid taxes. And we tell you the principle of the money factor. You understand those kind of what the money works, how does it work? Like building a house, you must build it from the ground up. Very important. Starting by protection, debt management, then up to investment. First, we are moved with the intent, like I mentioned, is for moving from financial insecurity to financial security, then to financial independence. And how do we talk about proper protection? That is the foundation. The reason being that no matter what you have accumulated, you work so hard, you have accumulated so much in your bank account or in any form of investment that you must have done, you have done so well. But if something happens, that fund can easily go down fast. That's why we emphasize that you need proper protection. How many months forward can you stay without working? That's one question we like to ask. How can I pay my bills forward if I stop working for some time? That's where we need proper protection. The next is the debt management. So you see, the credit card is one thing that has kept so many people in bondage. So we learn how to manage debt and become debt free. How do you do that? We can take a simple analogy. Most of the debt build up that people have in the developed world, even in Africa or in Asia, credit card is not so common in West Africa, but we have home improvements. Then people have MasterCards. Then a lot have auto loans. Then some take bank loan. Then the biggest of them all is the mortgage. Very, very easy for people to get into the mortgage. People want to get into town, and for them to feel that they have really arrived, they say, I bought a house. I told someone, you have not bought a house yet. You have a mortgage. That house still belongs to the bank. And we go into some other discussion. So when you have this group of debts, this group of debts on you, what do you do? What do you do? We just look at it. We use what we call the debt roll up. We use what we call the debt roll up to assist our clients. And it's very easy. It helps to make the person to know that yes, these are things that can bring that person that is so deep in debt to say, okay, is making some effort. There's some kind of emotional or psychological effect, and it pays off. So imagine someone that has a credit card of $150, home improvement of 1,200, MasterCard 3,000, auto loan 24, then mortgage of about $338,000, for example. You start from the smaller one, For example, their credit card is always on debit, and the interest rate on that is about 28.8% now. So just like we're talking about building interest when you have money in the savings, the rate of return. Likewise, that's you accumulate debt so fast once with a rate of return of 28.8%. So just a little contribution of adding $100 more, that debt can be cancelled. So the bank will tell you pay minimum of $10, pay minimum of $10. They are just deceiving you. They want you to be paying this interest because that's the way the bank make their money. They won't tell you that. So if you can add a little $100 more, that's paying 110 in your credit card, instead of waiting for 19 months to pay off that debt, you can pay it in 2 months. And the person will feel okay. The next, you just move up a little, take the $110 and go into improvements. Instead of paying the $50 they told you to be paying minimum, you now be paying 160. So it goes on and on, it goes on and on, it goes on and on like that. And even with a mortgage that is so big, you can do the same thing by using debt roll-up. And at the end of the day, instead of having the new month, can imagine making that kind of new month payment of 2,882, and you have to wait for over 30 years. You can do that in half of that time, 17.5 years. You can pay your debt or in 17.5 years. You just imagine the cumulative interest that you must have saved. So you can imagine what $100 can do dramatically to save your time and reduce your debt. Once that person even gets to the middle of this analysis we have made, the person will be feeling relieved. There's no much pressure again. Sometimes some of the sickness that people accumulate is because of things like this, because they can't really understand what will happen if they can't pick that shift. It's really stressful. The next is emergency fund. Like I said, learn to build up to 3 to 6 months of your income for emergencies. Very, very important. Because why? That car can get breakdown. Your laundry can go bad, and you need somebody to fix it. And these workmen in North America, they are very expensive to be engaged. Or something happened and you lose your job. Losing job in North America is not a strange thing. Yeah, they hire and they fire. So it's something that if something happens and the next week you start asking for money or swiping your credit card, then the last is investment. Talking about to learn to save and to invest. The issue, where do you save? Where do you invest? What portfolio do you have? Is it the one that cannot bypass probate? I think we'll throw more light on that subsequently. Just by saving an investment, assume your income is $60,000 and you set aside 10% with 5 months, $500 per month, or breaking it down to $17 per day. And that person starts at age of 30. 30 is even already getting more matured, right? You can start even, why you start working at the age of 20 or 25. So just imagine a rate of return of 8%. In 30 years, at the age of 60, this is what the person will be accumulating. We are using a conservative rate of 8%. Sometimes you have double digits interest rate, depending on the investment portfolio that you find yourself. Now, imagine you have a double digit of 10% at minimum. That person can comfortably retire with 1.3 million at age 60. Is it not something that you should think about? And the rule of 72 gives you an understanding of how fast you can double your money, how early you can double your money. So if you're having 1%, you have your money in the bank because you're thinking of safety. You have your money in the bank. And at 1%, if you divide 1% by 72, that's 72 years. So throughout your lifetime, you might not be able to double your 1,000 to 2,000.